Low sector lift port, 1,000 meters below ground level. Yes, that's what that little number on the loading screen means, and all that stuff. Here we've got Bosche talking to some guy in a mask. What's wrong? Shrug. The lift's down. Typical. The lift being the subway, I guess. How delightfully British of them. They expect me, Bosche 164, to walk the tracks all the way to the labs? Grr, let's go. This guy has a huge ego. Mostly because of his high D ratio. 164 is very, very high of a D ratio. Kinda makes you wonder what he's doing in a shithole like this. What's wrong? To get to Viacor, take the lift. Yeah, just telling us to follow the tracks. Don't really know why the hell I talked to that guy, or while I'm looking around. Seemed like there was a couple of guys back there. But anyway, yes, this is Bosche, our first extra party member, who immediately takes the role as party lead. Lift Biocore 1. Still 1,000 meters below ground, despite the fact that we just went down a bunch of stairs. And Bosche kicks a bunch of crates to get some fresh meat, our first real trap type item. This is just telling us about encounters. The way this works, enemies appear on the map screen, and if you hit them with the attack, like Bosche's little kick there, then you get an extra turn, which allows you to take a preemptive strike type thing. Of course I fuck it off right off the bat here. Extra turn for Duke. Yes, if they hit you first, then they get a preemptive strike. But if you hit them first, you get a preemptive strike. And I'm going to use a combo thrust snake bite, which activates the party attack twin wake if you link snake bite into lion smash. The way you do the battle in this, all the actions in battle are linked to either the square, the triangle, or the circle buttons. And ooh, a bomb, that's going to be useful. Anyway, if you use L and R, you can switch between certain menus, so even though it looks like you don't have a whole lot of options in battle, most of them are hidden. There's a little crate over there, but you have to go around the long way. So in order to combo into things, you have to hold down the R2 button, and that brings up an additional menu where you can go in and do a bunch of crazy stuff. As you can see, at first thrust just pops up, but if you hold down R2, which it points to and it says combo and all that stuff, then you can link it into other attacks. Additional attacks done through a combo do a lot more damage than just repeating the same attack over and over. You generally don't want to do that except in certain cases where the primary attack you have is sort of the best one. I'm kind of skipping through a lot of the post-battle screen things and all that stuff. Well, that was just a map tutorial. Nothing important there. Using the meat, the way this works, when you throw it out, it attracts enemies. And then they're all so focused on the meat that you can sneak up behind them and start whacking them and get like a nice preemptive strike set up. I'm just using like basic attacks over and over. After the extra turn, Bosche tends to always go first. And that's my first level 2 attack. It looks the same as the typical thrust attack, but no, it's actually different. You'll see why soon enough. But yeah, Bosche has an extremely, extremely high stats. He's just a lot more powerful than Ryu. Yeah, here we go. Using the level 2 attack properly. See, it attacks everything within the reticule that goes out. So if you have a bunch of enemies that are in a straight line, you can thrust and it'll hit all of them at the same time. Very good for taking out groups of enemies. It's not very powerful, but most of the enemies in this place are pretty weak. This is the tutorial dungeon for the most part. It's really just telling you how to do stuff. And all the videos in this update are pretty much the prologue to the actual game. The storyline doesn't really kick in, and you don't really get the major party members until right at the very end of this set of videos. So that's all that right there. We picked up a key, and we use it on this treasure box to get steel. Always have steel equipped. Very important. This is a shield skill. Skills come in two varieties, weapon skills and shield skills. Weapon skills are the stuff you use to do combat. Shield skills are passive skills that get used at various times. Whenever you pick up a skill, you have to go to your menu and use the item. So always try to leave a slot or two free in your item menu. No matter how hard that is, just try to do it. And here I thread the steel skill into the free slot on our ranger shields. Not all shields are going to have a slot free like that, so you kind of have to choose your equipment wisely. Some swords have more slots than others. Some swords have skills that are like dependent there, and you can't like thread them or de-thread them. You're sort of stuck with them. But overall, you do have to kind of think a little bit about your stuff. Going back here to grab this item, and it's a spare save token. Save tokens are very rare. If you didn't play the North American or the Japanese version, you might not think that, because they actually made the European version a bit easier in several ways. The North American and Japanese versions really limit your save tokens and stuff like that, so I'm really kind of worried about that. I don't want to end up running out of save tokens and being unable to save shit. I'm going to be saving a lot more than I'm used to, since this is an LP and I don't want to go back and have to re-record footage and all that stuff. It'd be a huge pain in the ass. So expect a lot of saving from me, a lot more than usual. Normally you want to use save tokens only when absolutely necessary. Save maybe once every half hour to an hour, if that much. And, you know, just cross your fingers, because these chests that are all over the place, these are actually pretty much useless. Much like Ryu, you see right there. Yeah. This Ryu, obviously, not very good at attacks. We have to level him up quite a bit, and wait a while before he becomes especially great. Yeah, these chests are pretty much random, so you're not guaranteed a save token at any point during this dungeon. I got kind of lucky by picking up the spare one. If you didn't pick that up, you would only have one save token. If you only have one save token, and you used it up right at the beginning, then you're not going to be able to save at the point that I'm going to save at eventually. So, yeah, you're getting like really screwed over a lot because of the whole randomness thing here. Actually, in this case, the items and the dungeon layout seemed really good. I got a lot of healing items. I got a couple random items. There's the Ogre Slice. It's our first extra Ryu skill for his sword. It's another physical attack, but not a very good one. The accuracy is pretty bad, and it's only sort of good for the fact that it does pretty well on setting up critical attacks, which aren't all that important right now anyway, so all in all, it's a pretty shitty skill. But it's something that you can kind of pick up very early on in the game, especially if you picked up the steel there like I did, instead of running through and trying to avoid stuff. On every floor there's a chest, and there's also a key to that chest somewhere. So you have to track down the key and use it on the chest. In this room you always fight one very strong enemy. Unfortunately, I ended up with the goddamn goo. I fucking hate this thing. To some extent, I kind of prefer the other enemy, which is like this really powerful cow type thing. This thing has really weird defense, and it does a lot of damage when it actually attacks, and it's capable of hitting your entire party. You're noticing that I'm using Twin Wake a lot with Bosche, which is the thrust, snake bite, and then line smash combo that I'm favoring like constantly. It's really the only thing I'm doing. Just circle, hold R2, X, X, and he'll do that. It's by far the most powerful thing you have at this point. You're probably not aware that it's there unless you actually looked it up or just happened to stumble across it. But it is really about the only way you're going to get through this dungeon without much of a headache. It's that important. This fucking slime here is going to use this fucking attack. Very high damage. It hits everybody. It's not nice. I really fucking hate this line. Fortunately, we get to have a bit of revenge soon enough when we start picking up our additional party members. And Twin Wake makes very short work of it. Bosch's skills are very, very high. Much higher than Ryu's. He can take out a lot of these enemies in 1 or 2 attacks. And our limited inventory space is really coming back to bite me in the ass. So I'm clearing up some space by using up heal kits and picking up the question mark item, which I need to go back and get identified somewhere. Nope, you can't just pick up an item and use it right away. You have to know what it is first. This greatly annoys me, but hey. And here we picked up the side slash. It's another weapon skill for Ryu. Yeah, skills are all over the place. There's a lot of them to get. I'm not sure if I'm going to get all of them because some of them can only be stolen from 1 or 2 enemies and they're extremely rare. So I kind of have doubts about that, especially because one of them is actually in the hidden super dungeon, and I'm not going to do that for quite a little while. Yeah, I'm intending to leave it for the next time I go through this game, which will not be an LP type thing, but I'll probably be recording at least some of it. I will do an LP part when I do the dungeon, of course, so just because. Side slash, the reason I equipped it is because you can use Ryu's Link skill. It's kind of like the Twin Wake, except considerably weaker and a lot more shitty. But hey, it's not that good to have like unused slots, and it's not the worst use of a slot. So yeah, there you go. Hop on this elevator here.